Hello, you're watching the Crypto Roundup on Proactive. Billy Farrington joining me virtually with all the latest on virtual currencies. Billy, so how have Bitcoin markets performed this week?
Hi, Stephen. How's it going? Bitcoin very well this week. If you recall, last week we talked about this time. I surmised that we might have seen Bitcoin kind of tread water up until the November US elections. But to be honest, it has been a particularly bullish week for Bitcoin, one of the best in recent months, actually. I mean, as we're speaking now, the Bitcoin dollar pair is up around 12.5% since we spoke last Friday. So definitely a lot more momentum than I was actually expecting in the lead up to these US elections. Monday was particularly strong with a 6.5% gain on the Bitcoin dollar pair, and it sort of tapered off a little bit toward the latter half of the week. I can't help but to think that the strong performance actually doesn't have an election slant to it, though. I mean, the odds of a Trump victory apparently is they seem to have really shot up over the past week. The bookies have increased the odds of a Trump victory over Kamala Harris. Um, Obviously, since September's debate, Harris was clearly the front running favorite, and that seems to have flipped more recently. Why exactly? I don't know. You have to ask a political commentator, but just looking at the actual raw numbers, the odds on a Trump victory have improved, and that has sort of galvanized the Bitcoin price. So I'd suggest that's probably one of the major tailwinds for Bitcoin's strong performance. As we speak right at this very second, we're looking at $67,800 on the Bitcoin dollar pair. So that is still within the kind of sixty to $70,000 range that I kind of have chalked up as it's trending between in the coming weeks.
Uh, I mean, just looking at those elections, Billy, why is the market potentially pricing in a Trump victory?
Yeah, well, as we've discussed before, Trump has really positioned himself as the pro-crypto candidate of choice. But as we've always also mentioned, Kamala has sort of tried to ride that a little bit more recently. But I think Trump got the kind of first mover advantage as really supplanting himself as the pro-crypto guy, trying to garner that crypto vote. Uh, this is all a matter of like taking Trump to his word, and as I think we all know that's a bit of a mug's game. Nonetheless, he said he will remove the SEC chair Gary Gensler, who's been a sort of a thorn in the side for the crypto industry in recent years. He's been very hawkish, a bit of a perma bear on the crypto industry. Trump says he wants to appoint pro crypto policymakers and all this sort of stuff. Again, that's what he says, and whether he does it or not, I mean, I'll let you decide on the likelihood of that. But I mean, it's not just trader speculation that is potentially pricing in a Trump victory, though. I mean, some Wall Street analysts, some major equities analysts have kind of touched on this fact as well. I was just reading a Citi note saying that the Trump Vance ticket has publicly endorsed digital asset reform. Citi reckons that Republican control of the Senate would be beneficial to passing pro crypto bills and beneficial to appointing pro crypto policy makers and whatnot. So there definitely is like a sense among the market and among analysts that a Trump victory potentially could support Bitcoin's price, and potentially that we're seeing a bit of that being priced in this week.
I mean, Trump has signed Bitcoin exchange traded funds appear to be back in action, Billy.
Yeah, totally. It's been a really, really bullish week for exchange traded fund inflows. If I was to take you back to the beginning of the year, when the SEC, despite Gensler's reservations, the SEC went ahead and approved Bitcoin ETFs, which essentially brought Bitcoin as a tradable asset on the traditional stock exchanges, right, through an ETF wrapper. That's been a massive tailwind for Bitcoin this year, and that's why we saw those record high prices earlier this year. Following the initial hype, demand for these ETF products really tailed off, and that has weighed on Bitcoin's price in recent months. But just this week, sorry, we're looking at about $1 billion of ETF inflows into Bitcoin ETF products. I mean, that's huge. That's a really strong week for ETF inflows, which kind of suggests a revitalization of optimism in the Bitcoin markets as traditional investors kind of buy into these products, and that has certainly helped to support Bitcoin's price. Yeah, that's sort of where the lay of the land is right now.
Well, long may the momentum last, Billy. Thanks again. Have a great weekend.
Cool. All the best. Bye.
That's Proactive's Billy Farrington.